Good afternoon, and want to officially welcome you into the second of our doubleheader here from Vermilion. As we had a few things behind the scenes to work out, but you've been seeing the Oberlin Phoenix on offense here to start this game here in the first quarter, and so far moving the ball pretty well on the Sailors. Max Drummond with you. I'll be joined shortly by Paul Williams, and we've also got Sam Sovacool on the camera and helping us keep track of the time in the game. So third around 5 to go here for Oberlin as we'll see him draw back, rolling left, quick pass, and that's going to be completed out and in for the touchdown as the Phoenix take the early 6-0 lead here as Chase Chambers caught that one and was able to back his way into the end zone for the touchdown as Oberlin will strike first here on the road. And it's a youth program that they're excited about all the way up to the varsity high school level because, as luck would have it here on the Lorain County Sports Network, we had the Oberlin Phoenix varsity football team on last night. As we'll talk about that more throughout the broadcast, but we've got another play going to the left side, and the point after attempt is good. Running that one in is Mason Poling. So we've got the early one-possession lead in favor of the Phoenix, who drive right down the field on their opening drive. So we will step aside for a moment. When we come back, we'll see if the hosting Sailors can respond here on the Lorain County Sports Network. Back here on the Lorain County Sports Network, the Oberlin Phoenix up 7-0 after an impressive opening drive, and now Vermilion getting their first chance at it as we've got a run right up the middle, and he's just weaving through that defense. And that's going to be a very impressive first play and response for the Sailors.
Yeah, 17-yard run right off the bat, and that's even bigger coming off a defensive drive where you gave up a quick touchdown. Vermilion needs to get the momentum going back their way, and that's a huge start doing that.
Believe that was Weston Coates as he took that one right up the gut and was able to just find a path and get them past midfield. So already in plus territory now, setting up at the 47. So now we're seeing some cadence out of the quarterback. He claps his hands. Ball is over his head, so him and the running back have to chase it down as the oh man, he's trying to get away, but he's not going to get very far as Jace Perry, or excuse me, Salvatore Triana did what he could there. He's going to lose a big amount of yards on that one.
Yeah, and Triana will probably learn as he gets older. There's situations where sometimes you got to just fall on it and take the loss for what it was. That was probably one of them, a little bit risky, but yeah, the Sailors gave up everything they gained on that first down, and now here they are back in a tough second down situation.
Honestly, you say that, and it's not an exaggeration either. Is they started that drive at the 35, so
Yep.
now they're all the way back to the 39. Do my best to perform some quick math as it's 2nd and 24 to go now. Back in their own territory, trying to respond to what was a very impressive opening drive for the Phoenix. Vermilion, they'll get set now, and I believe a lineman or two may have gotten out of their stance and then back into it, and then the official noticed that, and he's going to throw the flag.
And what started off in a great note with the long run for Vermilion has now turned into a nightmare of a drive so far. Looks like they're going to be 2nd and close to 30 on this next play.
They now are officially behind where they started this drive. mentioned earlier here in the opening part of this broadcast, and at the end of our previous one, it's our first chance to see Vermilion. And so far, I expect we'll see a lot more of this guy as once again, they'll hand off to Weston Coates, but not as much as his first carry.
Yeah, and the playbook just isn't as big when it's second and 30, third and 26. So not too much the Sailors can really look to do in these type of situations. But let's see if they play it safe or try to pick up a chunk gain here.
As we've only really seen them go to the ground game, so we'll see how much they let Triana here do on this third and very long. As we want to send a big thank you out to the Vermilion Sailors, their athletic group, and their league director here as they gave us the press box to use this afternoon. Obviously, the kids to be out on the high school field and getting us rosters here. So big thank you to the Vermilion Youth League and their director. Third down and long now for those Sailors.
Confusion at the line.
As the ball is snapped, it's back. He's got plenty of time, so we'll see if Triana, what he chooses to do is he does find a man open. So they showed right there they definitely have the potential to use the passing game, but it'll still result in fourth and long now.
That's the problem when you get so far behind the chains. I mean, plays like that, yeah, it's a nice, solid completion, but it does nothing for the situation they were in. And Oberlin couldn't have asked to get off to a better start. Now going to get the ball in decent field position, looking to go up 2 scores.
And when we come back, they will try to add to that 7-0 lead here on the Lorain County Sports Network. Want to welcome you back in as we did have a quarter change there. So after the punt, it's the start of the second quarter with Vermilion back on offense. And you definitely approve of some of those moves you're seeing by Chase Chambers as he picks up a few.
Man, flag on the play. Not sure what it is, but what an impressive run from Chambers. Really should have lost yardage on that with the exchange issues and guys in the backfield, but made it positive.
As right there, he collided with his quarterback. Let's see, it appears that they're going to call a holding. So on a stretch play like that, or a play that stretches out like that, that may happen from time to time, and it bit the Phoenix there.
Yeah, it really did, and Phoenix doing the same thing as Vermilion just did, getting themselves behind the chains early, which makes everything tougher the rest of the drive.
And that's what they were able to avoid on their opening, as you may not have heard us talking over it, but for a good chunk of that drive, without us here, they were moving the ball at will. So let's see if they get back to that here as Zane Chambers being that shotgun with Colin Wilson to his right. He's going to roll left, another lefty, and right off the arm of who I believe is his brother Chase Chambers, so not able to connect there. Would have been a big play.
And Chambers is one of their go-to guys. 9 times out of 10, he's going to catch that pass. Perfect throw, and perfect execution. Just have to finish the play, but that's still a good sign for the Phoenix right there.
And it's I mentioned the lefty. That's back-to-back games. We've seen a left-handed quarterback. His last game here this afternoon, the first of our doubleheader, Wellington, and their quarterback had a southpaw operating the offense. So I guess we can expect to see a lot more rolls to this side.
Yep, and they're all guys willing to throw.
And it'll be a run this time, but it's going nowhere. Blown up in the backfield, trying to get a look at that. He's kind of bumping chests with guys out there. I believe that's Owen Fox who came up with the tackle for loss.
Man, Fox knew what he wanted as soon as that play snapped. He knew where he was going, and he made it happen. Great play from the young man.
And he helps push this Oberlin offense back again. So now we saw the 3rd and long situation for Vermilion on offense. Now Oberlin's got to come up with a way to combat that as they face a 3rd and forever.
And those are things that both teams are going to be hearing about during practice this week, because it's just a tough way to get anything going. And especially when it's already tough to move the ball at these ages, you don't want to make things any more difficult for yourselves.
So Vermilion had around a 3rd and 25 on their first drive. This will be 3rd and 22 for Oberlin. Obvious passing situation. They'll do that. And that's going to be a rainbow ball up in the air, 50-50. It looks like Vermilion may have come down with it.
Calling it incomplete, I believe.
As the official, who was right there, had a perfect line of sight on it, is going to say that one, as you said, Paul, is nobody's coming down with it.
I'll tell you what, that was basically a jump ball, punt, whatever you want to call it. But both players came down with it. It looked like Vermilion was able to pull it away last second. But either way, they're set up to get the ball back in very, very good position here.
And we'll try to get a number out there, give him some credit.
And walking off the punt now, so looks like Vermilion should get the ball at about the 45 of Oberlin, which is a great spot to start a drive. And Vermilion could really use to get something going here now, about midway through the second quarter. Haven't scored yet. This is a big drive for them coming up.
Yeah, and that can help with some confidence as the Sailor who almost picked that off, but at bare minimum broke it up, was Weston Coates, a guy whose name we've called on offense a few times and had the big run to start their last drive. So he makes another play out there for Vermilion.
Yeah, and Coates is going to be important. It seems like any time Vermilion has the ball, he's going to be one of the key pieces. See if he can make something happen, maybe a couple more big plays that could really set the Sailors up in scoring position.
So we'll see a late substitution off the field for Oberlin as their defense tries to get ready to prevent that, but we'll see if Vermilion can stay on schedule here. Salvatore Triana in the shotgun, brings a man in motion. And one of the receivers took a false step there, and it looks like that's going to move them back 5.
And once again, another drive starting off behind the chains. It's just something that, as a coach, drives you crazy. And even at this level, you want to make sure these things aren't happening consistently. So some kinks to work out for sure. And I think it'll be talked about at halftime. I'll just say that.
Well, and like you mentioned, even at this level, and especially at this point in the season, we're at week 5 now, so you're hoping you can kind of hit your stride with just getting set up on offense. So we'll see that same motion again. Triana claps, and he's going to get it. It's a sweep all the way to the right. He's got a couple defenders he's going to have to get through, and fights his way back up for a gain of 5 as Chambers and Wilson force him out of bounds.
Yeah, great pursuit, especially from Wilson there, coming from the other side of the field, able to get his hands on the quarterback and limit that run, which still ended up as a positive for the Sailors, but now because of that penalty, they're still second and about 10.
And that's the play call they probably had for first down,
Exactly.
and you'd be looking at 2nd and 5 here.
Whole different situation, but still the Sailors are now on Oberlin's side of the field and have a great opportunity, probably their best so far in the game, to make something happen.
As they are working in plus territory now at the 45. And we'll see him come out in that shotgun again with the 2 receivers instead of at the bottom of your screen. They're going to be up at the top. pair of tight ends at the bottom. He collapses. He's got a real good clap on him. You can hear it up here. And they're going to hand off going right side as he's going to bowl his way over a couple defenders, and they're going to give it to Coates, who moves the chains. And like you alluded to, he's been the answer so far.
Yep, this is exactly what I was thinking as far as something that could really get Vermilion going. And now they're set up in a perfect situation just outside of the red zone. First down. Let's see if they can build on this. And let's see if they go to the air a little bit or just keep pounding it and making sure that Coates and the others are getting their touches.
They'll officially say he went out at the 31-yard line here in the second quarter of this ball game. Snap is back. They'll go right with Coates again. He finds his way through one defender, around a couple others. He's going to get sandwiched and spun down, but another nice pickup for Coates.
Man, I was getting ready to say I think he should have cut back inside there, but it looked like he still picked up more yardage than he would have if he would have cut back inside. So I'm going to leave it up to him to do his work on the field. I'll stay in the press box.
And you know what? I don't want to invite comparisons too early. It can lead to some pressure on a young man, but if he continues to make plays like that and like we've seen so far, there's a certain running back here that's a senior at Vermilion this year. Those could be some footsteps to fill, some guy to look up to in the future.
Man, this could turn into the running back factory at that point.
Obviously, it's got to start somewhere, and this is the perfect time. And when you're here on the high school field, just maybe minus some of those expectations a guy like Evan Coons is getting is obviously who we're talking about.
And you know they're watching Coon every Friday.
So 3rd and 1 now as he'll get it again. Follow some blockers out to the left side, and now he'll try to show off the speed. He gets to the 10, and he's going to be wrestled down, but not after another first down, and I think it'll be a 1st and goal.
And at this point, he's putting the Vermilion offense on his back, and he's delivering. This entire drive is basically built around 3 touches, 3 runs from Coates. Now it looks like they're first and goal at about the 8-yard line, with a great chance to build this momentum and take at least tie the game, possibly take the lead.
And now we'll see some subs for Vermilion, including Coates. He'll exit the game along with Owen Fox.
He earned that quick rest.
Yeah, and it could be quick. Like you said like that because we'll see how long he stays on that sideline. He got some water immediately, but now without him, Triana in the backfield, he's got a man to his left. The snap is high, so that's the second time we've seen that. Bounces right to him, so he's got a chance to make a play here. Weaves in and out of the defense, cuts around another, runs over another, and he's trying to fight his way in. And it looks like the ball came out. Official marks the other direction. It's first down, Oberlin.
I was going to argue, I think he crossed the goal line at some point, but somehow it's Oberlin's ball.
And there was only one official in the area. As the back judge, he was behind the play. And the official on the closer sideline to Vermilion, he was not in line with the goal line, so definitely a tough break. As like you said, he could have crossed that line, but there was no way close enough to tell if he did.
I mean, so much happened there. First of all, the snap was way over his head. They got a super lucky bounce. He made about 9 moves to somehow get it to about the 3-yard line. And while I'm looking for the touchdown signal, I see the ref point, it's Oberlin's ball. What a turn of events, and that's really got to be disappointing for the Sailors.
Now they'll have to try to find a way to bounce back as we'll see who was able to come up with that ball. It looked like Colin Wilson spun him around and prevented him from crossing the goal line and came up with the ball.
What a play, because he was really close to scoring right there. Wow, what a run until that point. Oh, my. He was at the half. He was inches away from scoring a touchdown.
Yeah, at the half-yard line. And if you've seen our Friday night broadcast, you'll know we have a replay feature for that this season. Hasn't made its way down to the junior LC8 level yet.
Yeah, give it a little time.
We'll leave that up to potential in the future, but you can play it back, obviously, and see how close he got. But, obviously we talked about the great run right there, but you can't leave out the effort from Wilson to end that play by – it almost reminds me of the Maurice Claret strip back in the 2002 championship game against Miami.
Yeah, just 2 great efforts on both sides of the ball there.
And now, because they're backed up, there was an issue with the snap, and Vermilion's going to get the touchdown anyway.
What a two-play sequence. I'm still trying to figure out what the heck happened in that previous play, and now a Vermilion defensive touchdown, and I guess it was meant to be. The Sailors are right back in this thing, and Oberlin, I think everyone's with me in a little bit of shock right now.
They've got to be stunned over there, and it was a double handoff in the second half of that. It just wasn't a clean exchange on the handoff, and it's Weston Coates who jumps on it.
And when you have a runner like Chambers, I mean, sometimes when you're pressed up against your own goal line, you might just want to be traditional and hand him the ball. I'm not the coach, and obviously Oberlin knows what they're doing, but what a huge turn of events. And now Vermilion has a chance to take the lead and control of this game.
So they will go for the, well, it looked like for a moment they were going to go for the lead as the official was setting up at the 5. Now he'll move it to the 3. So with points being at a premium in this game, they're going to opt to try to tie this one up.
Understandable, and I think this timeout just called was needed for everyone to catch their breath a little bit. We got a 7-6 ball game. I think it mostly us. But if you're watching this on YouTube, you understand why the energy is coming out right now.
So now Vermilion will be the first back out there. Is their problem? They feel like they should have been doing this a couple minutes ago.
Yes.
Set up for the point after.
Hey, they didn't have to wait long to get things, at least in their mind, to get straightened out.
So now with that timeout, they'll likely have their ideal play call in as Triano set up in that shotgun as we've seen just about all game. Believe that's Coates to his left. We'll see in a moment. As they're going to run a counter, as there's going to be a puller trying to help him out. He's backing his way in. Is he going to be there? Touchdown as the officials give the signal, and we got a tie ball game here.
Man, and he had no business being able to make up those last 2 or 3 yards, but just another determined, gritty run from Coates. And the Vermilion Sailors, after about the worst turnover you can have, somehow have come back and tied this game as we wind down the second quarter.
And we'll come back and see how that concludes, as it's been an exciting one here so far. When we come back, 7-7 tie ball game here as the Phoenix will get back on offense here on the Lorain County Sports Network. Coming back at you at the tail end of that play. So Vermilion really capturing the momentum this time. Blake Lalonde was able to track that one down and force a loss of yardage. As they've responded very well to an unfortunate circumstance, an end of a drive, and really, I mean, I'd say they own the momentum right now.
Oh, 100%. And now it's going to be interesting to see what Oberlin can do after that roller coaster of emotions over the last few minutes. Let's see if they could settle in and take back control and show what they've shown so far with their offense and the playmakers that they have.
As we've called out a few guys' names so far, Colin Wilson, Chase Chambers, both pretty effective at the skill positions. And you can't look past Zane Chambers, the quarterback, either. He's going to clap. They'll try another double handoff, and once again it's blown up, and this time it's another fumble. Vermilion gets the ball right back. So those double handoffs not paying off at the moment, and it's going to be the 5 of Blake Lalonde recovering.
And Lalonde recovered that, but a lot of credit to Owen Fox, who applied that pressure and forced that fumble. He was in the backfield before the quarterback even got the ball. Great play by both of those gentlemen.
And gets a high five from his coach there. You'll see at the bottom of your screen. And he's been dominating all game so far on both sides of the ball.
Yes, he has. And this is how a defense takes over a game. I mean, Vermilion, their defense kind of saved the game from going Oberlin's way, and now they're giving Vermilion a chance at the 30 to somehow take a lead into halftime.
And it's an offense that really found their footing 2 drives ago,
Yep.
technically, as they now get back on offense here.
I mean, literally less than two game minutes ago, Oberlin had the ball up 7-0.
After getting a huge stop. So now we'll see Triana retrieve the snap, hand it off, spun forward is the ball carrier that time. I believe Lex Benson gained around 6 there.
Yeah, and it looks like he got some help from Ezra Shuck as Shuck, the defender, threw him an extra 4 or 5 yards there to complete that run.
Yeah, I'm sure he's not going to say no to that. And
Right.
we'll see how often each of these backs how they divide the workload among these backs. As that was the first time we've called Benson's name. He'll remain in next to Triana. And the snap, well, haywire, but they're going to be able to hand it off at least and just swallow it up there on the interior of that defensive line. Nowhere for Benson to go.
Yeah, Oberlin has been pretty solid for the most part. Besides some runs from Coates, he's like the only one they can't contain. But it would be really big for Oberlin right here if they could somehow get a stop, force a Vermilion turnover on downs since they wouldn't be punting at this point,
No.
and get a chance to maybe get one more drive in before the half.
And that nice stop there, courtesy of Kingston Gaines, who he took advantage of the slow developing nature of that play as Triana's had to chase down and corral a couple of these snaps here this afternoon. As this is the second of our doubleheader. In our first game, Wellington was able to come out on top against Brookside, as that is already uploaded and on the channel here. This one will stay on the channel as well once the live stream is done, but a little bit of a ways to go before the end of this one, as we're late in the second quarter. 3rd down and 5 here for the Sailors. Triana setting up. Looks to his right and looks like he's ready. He'll clap, able to get a hand on that ball. And unfortunately, that's just going to stop the play in its tracks and lead to a 4th down.
And that is huge for Oberlin right there. Whether or not they get the ball back and score, just their defense being able to get that confidence back, get a big stop when Vermilion looked like they were in prime position to score again. Great job by the Phoenix, who have forced and 4 now after a tough turnover from their offense.
Well, and getting a hold of him that time was like Ezra Shuck. And you can say what you will. You can say that the high snaps are the reason. But we saw on one of those haywire snaps, the quarterback, Triana, almost take it to the house.
Exactly.
So it's not a guarantee you're just going to get a TFL on those. So good job by Oberlin to get things under control.
Big 4th down here.
It'll be around 12 yards to go. Motion man is Coates, and high snap, he'll go past it, and then they're going to hand off. This time it's going to go to the 17 of, as we do not have one, so I apologize to that young man, but he's going to be brought down well short of the yard to gain, and it'll end this series on offense for Vermilion.
Yeah, and really stalled quickly after a few big defensive plays from Oberlin. And now Oberlin stands up, and their offense has a chance. There's probably less than 2 minutes left in the half, so they're not going to have a ton of time, but they will have a chance to snatch this lead back as we go into halftime.
And I believe before the start of this next drive, there will be a timeout or maybe an official's timeout, so we'll take one with them, and when we come back, like I said, we'll see what the Phoenix have in store here before halftime. back here in the second quarter from Vermilion High School as the Sailors and the Oberlin Phoenix are tied up here at 7. The Oberlin getting the ball back after a turnover on downs. Zane Chambers going to drop back, throws it with the lefty and just over the middle late, and that's always a bad recipe, and it equals an interception. So turnovers have been the name of the game so far, and they continue to be right there.
At this point, Oberlin's pretty fortunate that the game is still 7-7 because not only have they turned the ball over now numerous times, it also is each time it's been deep in their own territory, giving Vermilion chance after chance to get a score.
So each team heads to the sideline, and this is, I guess, the situational awareness on our part. It appears like it's lacking, but there's no score operator this week, so we weren't aware of the time there. So now it appears to make sense that it is halftime, and that was just throwing it up, see what you could do. So no harm, no foul there to end the half, as it is a 7-7 tie here from Vermilion High School, and we'll step aside. When we come back, we'll recap a little bit of that first half, and then we'll get ready for the second half here of this junior LC8 matchup between the Vermilion Sailors and the Oberlin Phoenix here on the Lorain County Sports Network on YouTube. third quarter just about to get underway here from Vermilion High School as we await this first play, and unfortunately it's going to start with a penalty as Sailors are going to be called for a false start, and they'll move back to the 30-yard line where they will reset here for the start of the second half.
And I said that that was going to be something they specifically talked about at halftime. Not the best way to come out of the half, especially. So let's see if Vermilion can turn that around, because that can't be something the coach is happy about.
And another lineman, once you're in your stance, you got to stay there. And unfortunately, he got out of his stance and then tried to go back down, and the officials aren't going to let that fly, especially because I think that happened in the first half, so they're hoping, okay, maybe a warning, and then if it happens again, we're going to ding you for it.
Yeah, and I mean, that's just the realistic rules of the game that they just are going to have to learn. It's frustrating that these lessons are coming in a tied ball game in week 5, but hopefully they will clean this up, and we can see a good, somewhat clean finish to this game.
Well, and especially in a few years when you're on this field, there's definitely not going to be a warning from the officials. So
yeah, and you won't be on the field very long if you don't get it right.
So that's a good way to attempt to clear that up now. So first down and 20 is Triana will get a hold of that snap, and he's going to hand it to Coates, who's extending the arm outright, going to knife his way through 2 defenders and be brought down after he picks up a few.
And it's just, I mean, I know it sounds like a broken record, but Coates just finds a way to pick up positive yardage, and he has the explosive factor as well. So he's a dual threat running back, and he's kind of, I'm not going to put that on him to say he's in the mold of a Evan Kuhn, but man, they do have to be excited for what they have coming down the pipeline.
As that's something Coach Kenny Washington, the Oberlin High School coach, actually mentioned last night ahead of the game that we covered here on YouTube with they faced off with Firelands. He talked about their middle school and their youth leagues just getting more participation, and they started the year 2-1. Can't remember the last time that's happened for Oberlin, and he meant that in the best way possible. Is we're getting some excitement garnered around it, and obviously it maybe brings out a few guys here at this level.
It definitely does, and it's good to see always for any program.
As they're trying to corral Triana, and they will. So a nice play there to shut down what could have been a bigger gain. And it's going to bring up third down and around 13.
Yeah, and speaking of what you're talking about with Oberlin, I was able to interview Drew Walters from Oberlin yesterday, and he talked a lot about how the culture has just changed, and you could feel it in the school, in the community. And it looks like it has even rubbed off at this stage and this age, because now the second time seeing Oberlin, I've been overall impressed with them, and it looks like they have a nice little pipeline developing as well.
Yeah, and that trickle-down effect is huge because obviously high school, they host youth nights. Well, Oberlin had some of their youth and their middle school guys warming up with the team out on the field before the game, so that's exciting. And speaking of exciting, we have another ball on the ground. I think Vermilion's going to get back on it, but we're seeing a lot of issues with ball security right now.
I mean, between ball security and penalties, this will take a few months off a coach's life, because this can be something that kills your team. And luckily, both teams are doing it, so it's evening out a bit.
So that'll bring up a fourth down, and we do have a injured player on the field, so we'll step aside as they check on him, and we'll be back here shortly on the Lorraine County Sports Network. back after an injury timeout and a punt, and the ball on the ground, this time stripped by Coates. He's not going to be able to get to it, but he was able to punch it out and almost got the ball right back to Vermilion. So I know we're talking about some of the mistakes the ball carriers are making, but at some point we got to give credit to these defenders, man.
And that is a good point. That's a good point. While it is frustrating and you first think of whoever committed the turnover, you also got to look at the other side. Someone's putting that pressure on or getting that hand on the ball. So great job by both defenses. It's really the offenses that are look like they still have some things to work out, but both defenses have been very active. They've caused turnovers, and they've only gave up 7 points throughout this game so far.
I was just about to say, with the low-scoring nature, it just feels like whoever happens to jump on a turnover, either in the end zone again, like Vermilion did, or inside the 20 of opposing territory, that's going to be the difference.
You do that, sustain a drive for 4 or 5 minutes without some penalties, and they'll win the game.
So Chambers is going to hand off left side as that goes, I believe, to Mason Poling, so they get him involved. And he'll pick up a modest gain of around 6 or so.
Yeah, the Phoenix really just need to kind of calm down, take a deep breath. It seems like ever since that crazy sequence in the second quarter, they just haven't been able to sustain anything on offense, and it's been a struggle, but they do have the talent in the backfield. Let's see if they can take back control in this third quarter.
Gotta wonder if that sequence, like you said, affected the play calling, because that double handoff, that was the first time we've seen it, and they've tried to go back to it a little bit, but a couple of similar plays just going to different guys right now. So third down and 7. We'll see another handoff Poling as he finds his way around one defender, but he's going to the short side of the field and just ran out of space there.
Again, another great defensive stop from the Sailors. I mean, they, for the most part, have done everything you would want them to do. They're limiting big plays. They're not giving up many scores. And now they just really need their offense to get going. And it has to be more than Coates. He sustained that for a couple drives. Oberlin made some changes. And some other Sailors going to have to step up to see if they can make something happen on this next coming drive.
And they'll have the chance to do that here shortly as they'll be back out on the field in a moment. Oberlin, who... And at this level, a lot of guys go both ways, but certainly in the case of the Phoenix, we talked about increased participation. They're still working against it a little bit as it's got a much smaller bench than you may see from other teams in this league. But also, I mean, that kind of happens because in high school, they're Division 7, so they're already a little behind the 8 ball.
And, I mean, if you think about it from that lens, it's impressive they're even able to field a good, capable team that's competing with all these other schools.
Yeah, and it's nice to have them back, as in our first year of covering junior LC8 football, they had a team when we were on radio, and then they had a gap last year where they didn't have one in the league, so it's great to have them back. So Vermilion will start here at the 34, 1st and 10.
Third quarter winding down.
As we imagine.
Yeah.
So we're going to see an end around this time on a sweep, and got caught off guard by that hit as who laid the wood there? I think Colin Wilson got a hold of him that time.
Man, and that was laying the wood. What a hit from Wilson. Looked like he just reared back and gave him no break and hit him with everything he had.
As it appeared, Zion Green had a nice lane to work with out there with some open grass, and I don't even think he saw him coming, because the way he got hit, it looked very almost like a blindside.
Yeah, that was a real hit stick from the Oberlin defender, and it's good to see everyone's okay after a collision like that.
So Wilson now, after laying the hit, he's directing some traffic out there on defense. Having a safety back up a bit on this 2nd and 6. High snap, it's gotten a hold of. And breaking out of one tackle and taking off, that's going to be Zion Green again, and this time he's able to fight his way forward out of a few hits.
And you called it. The Sailors are still able to make things happen despite a lot of bot snaps or high snaps. But we have an injury timeout. I will get to that after this.
So we'll come back and we'll finish that point here in the third quarter on the Lorain County Sports Network with the Sailors and Phoenix tied up at 7. So the injured Sailor was able to walk off the field under his own power as we come back here in the third quarter of junior LC8 football coverage. And we're going to see a handoff, and that ball was stripped. I believe Coates may have been the man on the carry, and there's no official near, so we have no indication who has the ball right now.
And it is Oberlin football. Yikes.
It has been a roller coaster of an afternoon for both of these teams. And we had a positive play. It looked like they were going to move the sticks, and just another fumble ends another drive.
Yeah, they're having a lot of trouble with the snaps and exchanges, which I think is putting extra pressure on the runners because they're already getting touched in the backfield. So you mix that with the runners not securing the ball, obviously, as tightly as they should, and it's been a recipe for a lot of turnovers now. And at some point, one of these teams are going to have to take advantage of one of these turnovers.
Yeah, whether it's a scoop and score or something of that nature, but it appears after we consulted, looking back at the play, Colin Wilson, the linebacker, was able to strip the ball out and end that drive. Now we're seeing Poling getting a chance on an end around, but he's not even going to make it back to the line of scrimmage as he's brought down for a loss.
And again, both sides of the football playing great defense. It's just some point, one of the offenses are going to have to make either a big play or sustain a drive and get it downfield. And it looks like, I can't tell if they're taking a timeout or just playing really slow.
Well, for the 2nd and 14, they'll at least get a chance to get the play into the huddle. And, you know, you mentioned needing one of those chunk plays here. In the first game we had, we saw a lot of movement and small plays down the field and gradually getting towards the end zone. And we said they didn't need the big plays, but we haven't seen much of anything sustained here.
At all.
And this pass over the shoulder, and that's going to be out of the hands of Poling as he had it, and it looked like he was looking downfield.
Man, and that would have been a beautiful catch, and he would have had a lot of downfield to look at because he would have been hit in stride. That might have been the big play we were just referring to.
As unintentional foreshadowing might have happened there, and just a great ball from Zane Chambers as he was able to lead that one out ahead of his target Poling. So 3rd and 14 here late in the third quarter as Oberlin will definitely get to run another play after the clock stoppage there. In a game that has been tied since the second quarter. And now we have a stoppage. And Oberlin elects to take a timeout as we see a frustrated coach. So there may have been some confusion on their play right there. And as they take a timeout, we'll take one with them and be back shortly here in a tie ball game on the Lorain County Sports Network. Back here after the Phoenix elected to take a timeout ahead of this big 3rd down and 14, and we're going to see Chambers drop back. He's forced to get rid of it pretty quickly, and almost running under it was his intended target. I think that's going to be Chambers over there. Falls incomplete around the 40.
That was honestly impressive that he was even able to get that throw out and get it so close to hitting Chambers. And again, on that throw, he did the same exact thing. He really led his receiver well. So if it does get hit and they do complete it, their receiver has a lot of room to run.
Well, and the way he fitted in between two Sailor defenders, it almost felt like he was thrown to a spot there, which normally you don't hear about that until you hit past high school. So
yeah, 2 impressive incompletions.
Yeah, you're not going to say that too often, but it adds up to being a stop there for Vermilion. And it'll be the walkout punt. So now they'll start at their own 25 here in the second, as we're in the second half. And we presume pretty late third quarter as we are without a scoreboard operator this afternoon. So doing our best to kind of track the time from up here. So Vermilion will head to the line. Triana, as he has been, I believe, the entire game now, in shotgun, or now it'll be a pistol. Brings a man in motion. And the high snap delays the handoff, leads to almost a tackle for loss, and it's going to be. However, I think the Oberlin defender may have touched the face mask while trying to bring him down.
And that's a rough way to get. Is there a penalty out there? Yeah.
So the official, and that's what's interesting, he was the line judge on Vermilion's sideline, so he may have heard a coach in his ear despite being further from the play. But looks like they're going to walk it out from where the tackle for loss happened. So it'll be 10 yards. So if it was from the spot of the foul, it'd be a 10-yard penalty. But if they're doing it from the line of scrimmage itself, it's a 5-yard. So maybe he touched the face mask but not fully got a hold of it.
That's what it seems like, yep.
So it'll just be the 5-yard variety. And it's a 1st and 5 as Vermilion, they haven't been ahead of the chains to start drives, so they'll certainly take that. Triana gets the snap, which is right to him. And we've got, let's say, Lex Benson picking up a few.
And, I mean, just keeping it on ground, pounding it. It looks like they're trying to play it a little safer after a bunch of turnovers over the past couple possessions, but not really moving the ball downfield too much. And being this methodical, they are going to have to come up with some type of play that gets them on the opposite side of the field.
Yeah, and we are in a 7-7 ball game, but that's because their defense jumped on a ball in the end zone. So
no offensive touchdown.
Because of that, yeah, and we haven't really seen them make too much happen on this side of the ball. So we'll now return to the line, 2nd down and 3, trying to make good use of that early penalty in the drive from Oberlin. Triana, he'll get the snap, handing off, going left, and there's not a lot of room, but he somehow cuts past 2 Oberlin defenders. He exchanges the ball to his left hand as he's heading down the sideline. Vermilion, this is the big play we've been looking for all afternoon. Aiden Finley to the 10, 5, he's got him almost become, but he extended the ball. I believe we have a touchdown.
The refs still aren't even close enough to call it, I think, but he came really close to getting caught from behind. What a play, though. Wow, what a finish to that play, too. It got a little risky, but exactly what we were talking about. A big play had to happen, and Vermilion finally comes up with it.
As it was Colin Wilson, who's been all over the field this afternoon for Oberlin. He didn't give up on it. Credit to him, as he's just as tired as Aiden is. But
and the referees. 63 yards to the house, and now the Sailors have the momentum they need. And even more importantly, a 7-point lead or an 8-point lead in this type of game seems huge with how the offenses had struggled to move the ball.
It definitely would, and it now puts a lot of pressure on Oberlin, who held that 7-0 lead in the first half for a bit, and now I've seen it tied up and taken away. So they will set up here at the 5-yard line, and Vermilion will attempt a 2-point conversion just after the 63-yard touchdown by Aiden Finley, who it looked like he was bottled up.
For sure. What a run, man. That was very impressive.
So Triana gets a hold of it. They're going to hand off. That'll go to Benson, and he's going nowhere. As it looked like on that one, Kingston Gaines, the defensive lineman, took out some aggression after being very upset with that touchdown run. So that'll keep it at a 13-7 lead for Vermilion. And when we come back, we will see if the Phoenix can respond here on the Lorain County Sports Network. start of the fourth quarter, just about to get underway as that score by the Sailors ended the third, and now we're going to see Oberlin possibly have to move with a bit more urgency than we've seen this entire game.
Yeah, but if you're the Phoenix, just remember you still have the whole fourth quarter. You're only down 6 points. So while it might have seemed like everything that could have gone wrong has over the past quarter and a half, they're still in a prime position to steal this game. And I don't even know if I'd call it stealing it because both teams have had their fair share of mistakes throughout.
And now 2nd and 8 to go. Chambers out of the shotgun, rolls left immediately, zips that one over the head of his fellow Chambers teammate right there, and bring up a 3rd down now.
Yeah, that was a bit dangerous. A lot of Sailors were in the area. Good defense from Vermilion, and now we got for Oberlin's offense, probably the biggest play of the game so far. They need to find a way to keep this drive going.
And it's a Vermilion defense that, all things considered, has played really well.
Yeah, they have. Both teams have played pretty well defensively. Like you said, it was just going to be who falls on the last turnover and can make one big play.
Now Colin Wilson, who hopefully has had a chance to catch his breath after almost chasing down that last touchdown. He's trying to make one of his own. Stiff arms a couple, cuts back. He loses the ball. It's right on the white line. The official looks like he's going to say it was out of bounds.
Yeah, I think they're going to stick with Oberlin. It was so close, but the official was right there. Looks like Phoenix should retain the ball, and I'm okay with that call.
So he picks up 17 officially, and, we mentioned the stiff arms, and he was close. He could have just run out of bounds, but he cut back to try to get more, but everybody was piling on with pursuit, and it almost spelled disaster.
And that has seemed to be the problem with a lot of the turnovers. It's guys doing a little bit too much at the end of plays that might not be necessary, but these are the learning experience that are going to make them better players in the long run.
Because clearly the ability's there. I mean,
Yes.
He's a heck of a runner. So he now gets his team to the 46 after that run, and 1st and 10.
Also, though, great job by the Sailors defense to still have 4 or 5 guys in pursuit, because if not, he shook 2 or 3 of them.
And he's going to try to do it again now as he'll hang on to it this time and pick up 6. As to close out this game, they may be looking his way.
Yeah, and now they still have a big chunk of the fourth quarter. They're finally moving the ball a little bit. They're now well inside Vermilion territory. The Phoenix are actually in a great situation at this point in the ball game, despite all the struggles they've had.
And I mentioned Wilson, maybe them looking to him more, but he's moving a little gingerly. And plus, not too long ago, he ran basically a 60-yard dash. So despite him being the primary ball carrier, they might have to look to somebody else.
Yeah, and I remember when we covered him last game, same thing happened late in the fourth quarter. You can kind of tell he was starting to wear down because they put a lot on him.
So they use him as a decoy this time. They're going around to Chambers. He's got a lane. He cuts through. Makes a man miss with a nice jump cut. It could come back, but a really effective play there.
And it'd be unfortunate if it does come back, and looks like Chambers might be a little banged up. Let's hope not.
And the official, he not only made the holding call, but he pointed right at the player for Oberlin that he believed did it. So they will be coming back, and we'll come back here in the fourth quarter after they check on the injured Phoenix player here on the Lorain County Sports Network. turn now here in the fourth quarter after a penalty called back a big run by Chambers, who uh, Zane Chambers, who had to exit the game, but that means Colin Wilson will get the carry here, and that won't be like his previous ones as he maybe gets back to the line of scrimmage to bring up third down.
And now, again, this is definitely the biggest third down of the game for Oberlin. They've had a lot of success on this drive. They definitely want to keep it going. And honestly, as long as they get 5 or 6, they're going to most likely go for it on fourth down. So just don't try to do too much. Get what's there and make a fourth down manageable.
And it's a quarterback in Zane Chambers, who we know he can make some things happen, not only with his legs, but with his arm. He's going to try to do it with the arm, and it's going to fall incomplete, sails over the head of a few guys.
Overthrew it there, but I would have liked to see them run it again, maybe get a 5-yard gain, 6-yard gain. Then a play like that is a lot easier to connect on, and it would pick up the first down at that point.
And it doesn't feel as obvious of a situation
Exactly.
where Vermilion knows they can just keep everything in front of them. So we'll get a timeout here before this all-important fourth down here in the fourth quarter. As you can see on the bottom of your screen there, 13-7 in favor of Vermilion. And just want to give a quick shout-out to a few of our game day sponsors and helping us get out to these stadiums every Saturday, like Elyria Charities, where it's all about education. The Lorain County Visitors Bureau, celebrating 200 years together here in the county. Zabo Apparel, as they make sure we're kitted out in all the best gear and apparel for not only Saturday afternoons, but on Friday nights and when we cover basketball in the winter. And also, Robert Garcia of Allstate, a local Allstate agent over in Avon. And finally, Jones Bones Barbecue and Grub, smoking good barbecue on Royalton Road in Grafton. And I don't know about you, I've worked up quite the appetite just from calling this game, so I can't imagine how those kids are feeling.
I'll be at Quaker Steak in 33 minutes.
So we've got the drop back here. Chambers looking for something on fourth and forever. Lets it go, and it's going to be caught by, I believe, one of his linemen. It's going to be illegal touching, but
he called the penalty for himself.
Kingston Gaines, I mean, he showed off the hands there.
I'm not sure what he threw it to 4 Vermilion guys and one of his linemen, and the lineman came up with it. But either way, it's a stop for the Vermilion Sailors. They'll get the ball around midfield. And now with just around the halfway point of the fourth quarter upon us, Vermilion's in a prime spot to kind of waste this clock out and preserve a win that in many cases they probably shouldn't have gotten.
Oh, yeah, it's certainly one of those games where you're just kind of waiting to see who takes it because it's been hanging in the balance for so long. And you know, you'll never turn down a win, but it feels a little bit easier to try to fix some things after that instead of a loss. So, but still, obviously Oberlin, they've been able to force a few turnovers, and they'll try to do it again. But with the 6-point advantage, gotta imagine the Sailors feel a bit of momentum here, and now they'll come back out. As Salvatore Triana get everybody set. Right at midfield on the Vermilion V, so I'm sure they'll try to take pride in that here. Will the junior Sailors. High snap, he's able to get a hold of it. Lex Benson has to cut back immediately, and he's chased down. I believe that's from our lineman turned receiver, as I think that was Gaines who was able to get a hold of him.
Between the penalties and the tough snaps, it's scary to think what the Vermilion running game could be if they do get these things cleaned up, because they have the talent and they have the guys that can make things happen. It's just about giving them the best chances and putting them in the best situations to be able to succeed, which is something you can learn and you can work on.
And you know, it's a group that has quite a few sixth graders, so they've been in the Vermilion youth program for a little bit of time now, and I'm sure that's some things they'll try to keep working on here as the years move on. And what looked like was going to be a tackle for loss turns into a play bounced outside. And once again, it's going to be Aiden Findlay, and he's going for another long score.
Wow.
Where was that yard mark? Is that a 46-yard touchdown?
Just about.
Roughly?
Yes, and unlike the others, we knew he wasn't getting caught once he got in open field. The explosion he showed on that run was very, very impressive. And just like that, Vermilion shows what they're capable of. And despite all the turnovers and mistakes, they now have a 2-touchdown lead.
Now we'll turn the mic up as the cheerleaders ring the victory bell. Maybe.
They're trying.
There it is. They celebrate the score as they've been able to do that a handful of times now. And truly in a game that, like we talked about, hung in the balance for a good chunk of it, now is being just taken over by Vermilion's Aiden Finley and also an offensive line that's hung in there. And you can tell, being a little short-staffed on the bench as well, Oberlin's feeling it a bit as they are doing their best to try to hang in here in this second half. As we gave a scoring update earlier about the Cleveland Guardians in facing Central Division opponent, the Twins. I think you saw an update for the Tigers, who are in action as well.
The Tigers have fallen behind 6-5 in the 9th inning to the Braves. Tigers are coming to bat now, so let's hope the Braves can close this out as the the Guardians lead 5-0. It looks like the Guardians could be within a game and a half within an hour.
As many know, if you've been following them here down the stretch, they had 6 games with the Tigers over a week and a half. They finished a sweep. They'll have another chance to play them again next week. You can hear all of it on 1320 AM and 107.7 FM WOBL, and we're stoked about that. And also, they're putting us in quite a bind in a week from now. So Ohio State has the bye week right now. Their game with Washington is scheduled for 3:30 next Saturday, and then right behind that will be the Guardians playing their final series of the regular season. So it's going to be a busy weekend on WOBL, as they're the Lorain County radio home for both the Buckeyes and Guardians.
And we'll still have our junior LC8 games going on, so it's going to be a busy Saturday.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. And we're having some fun here, as mainly the Sailors in the second half, as they found a way to try to close out this game. High snap, corralled by Triana, and it'll be picked off, or looks like signaled incomplete. Either way, it'll be a failed point after try, and it'll remain 19-7 Vermilion, who has really taken over here in this final quarter of play, or final quarter and a half of play. And it's gut check time here for Oberlin.
Yeah, and the Sailors have gotten 2 plays that might have saved them running about 50 laps throughout this week. I know the coach still is going to have a lot of things he wants to work on, but you have to feel much better after you finish a 4th quarter with, one was in the 3rd quarter, but with some big plays like that and taking control of the game when you needed it most. Has to feel good on the Vermilion side.
Yeah, and obviously this, like we mentioned at the top, this is our first time getting to see Vermilion this season, so we're not sure what the work share has been like for the running backs. But we saw a lot of Weston Coates, and he did a fine job fighting for yards, but Aiden Finley has been the difference in the second half. They may have found a guy if they hadn't already.
Well, great play by the Vermilion defense there to limit Oberlin's first play on their drive as they lose about 4 or 5. But yeah, it looked like Coates was the man and going to have to carry the Vermilion offense early on. And then they give some other guys a chance, and they might have found another superstar diamond in the rough.
And like you said at the start there, Wyatt Morgan with the nice play on Wilson. And we've seen him escape a couple times to the perimeter, not able to there because of Morgan. Now makes it a 2nd and 14. And the 4th quarter clock has got to be winding down here.
Yep, and Vermilion's defense had been playing good all game. Now with some of that positive momentum and some of the plays the offense has been able to do, it seems like it's given them even more juice.
And it's a jailbreak up front as Chambers gets rid of it, bounces off a couple guys. That was almost an incredible interception.
That was almost a lot of things. That was almost an incredible throw and catch that could have went to the house right there, but almost a crazy interception. Either way, it falls incomplete, and now Vermilion with a chance to really put Oberlin in a tough spot.
You know, this we're in week 5, so we got a pretty good sample size here. This may be the most entertaining game we've seen so far. It's definitely up there.
There's been everything you can ask for in this game. We've seen it, and we still have a few minutes left.
Yes, and you can tell these kids are leaving it all out there. Just a few things to clean up, obviously, for both sides, but the effort, you can't question that. That is full effect.
It's kind of like both things are true. There's a lot, to be honest, that needs to be cleaned up, but there's also a lot of talent on the field, and you see it. It shines through for sure, even throughout the mistakes.
Now Chambers will have it 3rd and 14. Looks left. He's going to throw that way, and running under it, it's going to be Coates. So he had the fumble recovery in the end zone earlier, and now he wants to maybe get in the end zone on defense again. He'll be shoved out by Gaines, but that'll all but ice this ball game as Coates, I think he's our defensive player of the game, now that we give that out, with how often he's been around the football on this side of the ball.
Yeah, and I think we had everything in this game besides an interception, if I'm not mistaken. So they just wrapped up the kind of the full game experience all in one afternoon.
They checked the final box, and looks like, let's see, we're getting the offense back out there at the 24. So depending on how much time is left, according to the officials, we'll see if the Sailors even attempt to go for the end zone here.
Looks like they might be going in victory formation.
Best one in football is you see a bunch of the Vermilion sideline is heading towards midfield, so this would presumably be the final play of a game that, as we just finished talking about, was very exciting. Offered everything here on a Saturday afternoon, and so a big thank you to all these kids and coaches and in their efforts. Big thank you to Sam on the cam all afternoon and helping us out in that, and a big thank you to you as well, Paul. It's been a very fun season so far. We're heading towards the home stretch of the regular season. Final score 19-7, Vermilion.
Thank you, guys. Another just impressive afternoon of basketball, of football. All these kids, they give it their all every weekend, and you have to enjoy seeing that. So kudos to all teams. Vermilion picks up a big win even when they didn't play their best. So that's going to be a confidence builder for them. And yeah, we're only a few weeks from the playoffs now. Things are really about to heat up. And the Braves have just beaten the Tigers to knock down a half a game in the Guardians deficit. So overall, just a great Saturday afternoon.
Well, we're excited to see how their season closes out, and we've still got a few more weeks before our season with the Junior LC8 closes out. Next week, we will be at Keystone High School as we will have a 3 o'clock start. This Oberlin team will take on Firelands. The Falcons have been very good this season, so we'll see what Oberlin has in store for us there. And then at 4:15, or whenever the first game ends, we'll start shortly after with Keystone versus this Vermilion team. So Keystone also been a measuring stick here in the Junior LC8, so Vermilion will get a chance to take them on. It's been a fun afternoon. Can't wait to bring you more Junior LC8 action here this fall, as we will talk to you then. But in the meantime, have a great weekend. And thank you for watching Junior LC8 football here on the Lorain County Sports Network.